All right, so you ready to see why it's one of my all-time favorite books and my all-time favorite author?
Yeah, let's hear it.
See the book?
Mm-hmm. Gotta love an author who doesn't just go on and on and on, huh?
Dude, it's so it is so straightforward that right there, that is the entire chapter.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
is just,
Yeah.
it's like, go for a breakthrough. I call it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just get rid of all the fucking noise, stay in your zone of
Yeah.
greatness. Hey, welcome back to the show. If you are like me and you're constantly looking for what are the insights? What are the best new approaches? What's the hacks? In this case, to make your Instagram handle absolutely sing. And I mean sing like sing songs of new listings, of more trust, of more relationships, of more shares, and most importantly, as a revenue generating asset, you're going to love today's show. So I brought in my partner in crime. We at Listing Leads have recently launched something new inside of Instagram. We're not really going to go into the how and the why behind it. I want to talk about with Jimmy Mackin what is hot and what is not, so you, my friend, can take full advantage of this. Now, I got to give you a heads up. If you're listening to this on podcast, you're going to want to jump over to my YouTube channel because he is going to show some examples. So again, enjoy your car ride or your exercise, but make sure you race over to my YouTube channel because the examples are where the action is. So Jimmy, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Hey, Tom. Always good to see you. This is going to be a fun show for us because we've done something that I don't think anyone has ever done in real estate history, which is we have spent the last few months aggregating all of the best creators. I mean, well over 500 creators on Instagram right now. And to give the audience some context, we're now analyzing well over 12,000 unique real estate related posts just in the last 12 months. So what we've been able to do is extract some really interesting insights. So if you are new to Instagram, if you're struggling to grow your channel, if you're not getting any leads from Instagram, I think by the end of today's show, you're going to have not only the examples and the strategies, but a very clear blueprint on how to make this a big lead pillar for your business in 2025.
Outstanding. So where should we start? What's the first big insight?
Well, the first big insight is going to be around how to leverage listings to get leads off of your Instagram profile. So let me go ahead and pull up an example of this because this one I think is going to be so accessible to the vast majority of people here who
Jimmy,
are going to
while,
watch this.
while you're doing this, I'm already thinking of how many people have said, hey, could you audit my channel? And the first thing I see is stale photos of houses with no comments, no likes, no shares. So I'm going to assume it's not that.
Yeah, well, what's crazy about this one, Tom, and I think you're going to love this, and you should be able to see my screen now. So give me the thumbs up here, Tom.
Yes, we got it.
Cool. So what you're looking at this, and what I love about this, Tom, is we've been able to uncover who I would call these kind of hidden gems, small creators who are getting big results. And that makes us a lot less intimidating. So you're looking at Esther's account. Esther has less than 2,000 followers. But you'll notice as I start to scroll down and look at some of the videos she's producing, you start to see a pattern emerge here. And I'm going to grab an example of one. This video here, Tom, let's look at the data here. 1,100 plus likes, 147 comments. This video, again, 2,000 subscribers, followers. This video has over 12,000 views. Now, when I click on the video, you'll see, and you won't be able to hear the audio because there is just a song playing in the background. She's not in the video. She's not talking over the video. It's just a literal, like almost like the old virtual tour. Like here's a kitchen, here's a living room, here's a dining room. And
Yes.
what you'll notice is, and this is mind blowing, what you notice is this listing got 54 leads from 54 text opt in leads. And if you're paying close attention, you'll see at the very top of her caption,
Bingo.
the very first line she uses, text 8DLT at her phone number for more info in a private tour. And Tom, this is the part that to me, I think everyone who's watching should pay attention to. Notice what she does. Marketed by Esther, listing courtesy of Jason. So she's taking other agents' listings and she's saying, hey, would you mind if I promote your listing on Instagram? She's creating the asset and then she's posting it. So the big Zen takeaway here, Tom, and I want to get your reaction to this, is number one, if you don't have listings, a part of your strategy should be going out there, finding listing agents who want to get more exposure for their home. Number two, you don't have to have you don't have to be in the videos. You don't have to add any type of cap overlay in terms of the audio. You have to include some type of CTA at the top of the caption. And so she's getting hundreds of leads from her Instagram channel, Tom, using this exact tactic. And you can see when I go back to her channel here, you see that she's just doing it over and over and over and over again. So my first bit of advice here for everyone who's tuning in is that you can generate a lot of listings off of Instagram. You just got to do it the right way.
Yes. So what I love about this is a couple things. First, the fact that she has very few followers. I think it was like 197 followers. Will you pull up her account one more time? I want to make sure I saw that accurately.
Yeah, it was 1,900 followers.
Okay, 1,900 followers, which a lot of people are immediately going to say, oh my goodness, like, you don't understand. I don't have enough people following me. It is not about how many people are following you. The real action is in the people outside of the people that are following you. So my question for you is, why do you think that video is getting so much traction? What is it? Is it the trending music? Is it the fact that because she's saying, text me this, the algorithm is picking up on how many people are now, commenting on it? Do you think it's the number of shares? What do you think is causing this to go so viral?
Well, there's a few things. Number one, Reels are known for being the best way to reach people outside of your current network. So if you have a small account, meaning you don't have that many followers, if you're producing just stories or just posts, chances are the vast majority of your content is only going to reach the people who are already connected to you. Reels are inherently showing up in the Explore page. They're inherently being recommended after you watch additional videos. So the fact that she's choosing a Reel is very deliberate, and it's resulting in more exposure beyond her audience. The second thing is, you'll notice in that video that we shared, it's a nice house, and I'm sure it's priced well. And I think this is an important lesson for everyone who's listening. There are lots of listing agents today who don't invest in marketing, but are completely fine with another agent promoting their home. And I think this should be a go-to strategy for all the buyers agents who are watching, or all the would-be aspiring listing agents, is that you're going to get a lot of no's from a lot of listing agents, but you're going to get a lot of yeses as well. And for the ones who aren't technically savvy, who don't have a social media following, who aren't promoting their business online, I would be going after their listings, Tom. And so I think that's probably a combination of those two things.
So the other thing that I noticed was it is so clear who that video is for. If you're someone that's in market in Claremont looking for a newly renovated pool home, this video is for you. Now, she doesn't have to say that. The consistency of the same headline across every one of the shots of that beautifully new renovated pool home, that kept me looking like, yeah, like if I was in market in Claremont for a newly renovated pool home, like she's speaking directly to me. And I also think that's a reason why this was so successful.
Yeah, great points. In marketing, specificity matters, and I'm really glad you picked up on that, because I think it's a great example of, like, tell them what it is, not only in the video, but in the still that the Instagram reel has, and of course in the caption.
Yeah.
All right. So
before you go to the second one, for my friend on YouTube watching this right now, click below in the comments and let me know what did you see in that video? She's got 1,990 followers. Most would say she shouldn't be getting 12,000, views. She shouldn't be getting 54 leads from what looks like a pretty basic video. But in the comments below, let us know what you're thinking. I can't wait to see your feedback. All right, Jimmy, what was insight number 2?
Mr. Beast had the famous leaked memo over the summer, which is sort of a master class on how to run a digital first business. And for those of you who don't follow Mr. Beast, 350 million YouTube subscribers, doing $1 billion plus in revenue right now. Just an incredible entrepreneur. And in that leaked memo, he had this great line. He said, "Creativity saves money." And so the more ordinary your listing, the more extraordinary your marketing needs to be. And so if you're someone like Tim Smith, and we love Tim Smith, and if you got these beautiful homes in Newport Beach that are $15 million, Tim has a great asset, and that's probably going to get a lot of exposure just because it is so attractive to so many people.
Yes.
But if you're selling a 3-2 ranch in middle America for $300,000, you're going to have to kind of break the mold here a little bit. And I'll give you an example of this because this is just sort of mind blowing. This is a creator who I found recently, Lisa Dubois. She's in Falls Church, Virginia. Okay, and you can see she's got a video here, Tom. And I haven't seen this before. This video here has, I'm gonna pull up, 8 million views. I shared this recently in my Instagram stories. You saw this one?
Just on her. I saw the one to the right. I literally watched it this morning, and it reminds me of one of our great clients who did all the whisper videos. Right? I love
the ASMR. Yep.
Yes.
And I'll just pull it up so everyone could see this, but I'll pause it real quick. She goes, where I would hide if I played hide and seek in my new listing.
What a headline.
So
what a headline.
What a hook, what a headline. And listen, she's great on camera. She's very funny. She's very charismatic, but she's basically giving a property tour of, again, it's a nice house. It's a good starter house. It's not a $15 million beautiful 4,000 square foot home overlooking the Pacific Ocean. And so this video, you can see, Tom, 600,000 likes on this video.
Yes.
Tens of thousands of shares, 8 million views.
Right.
So my advice here on this,
it's also adorable, which makes it more shareable. Like, here I am hiding behind, the curtains. Here I am, hiding in the shower, and it's a glass door, right? If you're listening to this on audio, you've got to jump over to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, we'll have the team drop links to all these examples. But I just go back to what I'm seeing, a big trend, because again, we're analyzing 12,000 plus posts. A big trend I'm seeing that these really smart creators are using trends like ASMR or are using kind of creative, fun tactics to get exposure for what would be considered an ordinary listing. And I think there's no better way as a real estate agent to demonstrate your value by going into a listing presentation and go, my last video got 8 million views. I mean, talk about a unique selling proposition.
For sure.
That's mind blowing.
Jimmy, someone right now is going to put in the comments, what is ASMR?
Yeah, so I actually had to look this up because I was curious as well. ASMR, it is this reaction that happens in your brain when it listens to a certain like volume level. They call it autonomous sensory meridian response. It creates a tingling sensation in your brain. So if you've ever heard someone whisper into a mic, Tom, do you want to demonstrate what that sounds like right now on your mic? Because you have a good mic.
Hey, Jimmy, what do you think ASMR is, and why should agents be using it?
So you feel that tingling sensation in your brain right now that you just experienced?
What if no one felt any tingling sensation? I would be so devastated. Let me know in the comments if you had some level of tingling in your ear.
Can you do the entire podcast now, Tom, in ASMR?
It would be my last podcast ever. All right. So Jimmy, the first two insights, the first one is obvious, put the comment below X and I'll immediately send you, which is WeChat. No, not WeChat. I'm sorry. ManyChat. I get all the chats.
You can use a dedicated text message or ManyChat is a good example.
Yep. Love it. The second one was obviously the ASMR, right? But also it's the creativity. It's the hook is what was so special. Where would you hide, or where I would hide and go seek in this house? Like, that was awesome. And it's going to be fun to watch how many people emulate that and R&D that over the next couple of weeks. So, all right, what's number 3?
Creativity says money, Tom. Number 3 is I'm seeing a massive uplift in what I call AI creative videos. And this, so right now, Tom, you and I both know you've been screaming from the rooftops for probably 15 years at this point. Get on video, get on video, get on video. And the number one objection we would hear is, I don't like the way I look. I don't have time. I don't like the way I sound. All of those excuses are no longer legitimate in 2025. Because as an example, what I'm going to pull up here and show you is our buddy Ken Pozak, who I think is obviously one of the better creators. He has pivoted hard towards creating content. And we're looking at an example of a video he produced that's getting lots of traction about a new traffic pattern in Orlando. There was this video was written. The script was written by ChatGPT, and the audio that's being used in this video was created through 11 labs. There was no human being involved in producing this video other than the video editor. So what I'm noticing, Tom, and this is a big trend, videos get attention and videos can create an opportunity to build a following, which then can allow you to generate leads off of your listing or leads off your content. So what you're seeing is people are using ChatGPT for the scripting. They're using 11 Labs for audio. They're using HeyGen for their own avatar, and they're producing these videos without ever having to get in front of a camera. So you and I and Jason Pantana have been kind of flirting with this concept a lot in 2024. I think 2025 is going to be the year of like humanless videos where we just don't like that you can just outsource this to your admin or someone on your team just to do all this for you. So it's a big trend that we're seeing right now. Smart creators are jumping on this trend, and I think we're going to continue to see this grow.
Yes. Boy, I tell you, it does make me think about, I think, just a little, side note. One of the most important points that Jason talked about at this year's Success Summit was going to Answer the Public, right? AnswerThePublic.com. We've all been there before. Maybe it's been a while since my friend listening right now, you've been there. You type into the search, sell a home. There is 880 variations of questions consumers are asking in related to selling a home. Jason put up a typical Jason Pantana font, which takes two 8.5 by 11, pieces of paper, right? But the font was so extraordinary. And Jimmy, you know this. He literally says, I'm going to take the 880 questions. I'm going to use his prompt. He's going to put it into ChatGPT. They're going to basically answer the question in detail, create a blog, read it, make sure you like it, and then post it on your own, business, your business page on Google, your own website, inside of LinkedIn, probably on Facebook, probably send it out on PR Wire and see if you can pick up some free press. The bottom line is the smart agents today, that are really paying attention to content are answering the questions, which is what Ken's doing here. What's happening with this new road, leading us from A to B in and around Orlando? That is a brilliant strategy that the average real estate agent wouldn't be talking about. But for my friend listening, answerthepublic.com, 880 different questions about selling a home, and then follow Jason's prompt, which, Brian, we should just put the prompt or a link to the video inside of YouTube so people can watch that. So let's make sure we do that because the prompt is where all the action is. I promise, my friend, if you do this, it can all be done the same way through AI. And then, Jimmy, wouldn't it be interesting for people to take it one step further and actually have a video created about each question, having a podcast created answering each one of these questions? And we both know YouTube Shorts, which we'll cover on another episode. Like, this is where the action is. All right. So thoughts on that before we go to number 4?
Well, what you said, I think it's important. It's important for everyone to really internalize what you just said there, which is we did this analysis when we looked at these 12,000 posts, and we looked at the posting frequency of the smaller creators versus the larger creators. And as you wouldn't be surprised to learn is that as their following grows, they post more frequently. But then they hit this certain point where the posting really kind of stabilizes and they just kind of post consistently. And what you find is early on, these fast growing accounts, they experiment a lot, they post a lot, they try to figure out what their audience really likes. And there's a formula that I think that everyone can use when it comes to developing their content strategy, which is what content does your audience crave that you are uniquely positioned to create that benefits your business goals? So I'm going to say that again. What content does your audience crave that you are uniquely positioned to create that benefits your business goals? And if you think about those three sort of circles, where they overlap is sort of where you have to focus your energy and effort. What do they crave? What are you uniquely positioned to create? And does it help your business goals? And so these smaller accounts, they experiment a ton to figure out what their audience resonates with. And then they figure out, okay, what hits based on the customer feedback. And then they start to only produce that type of content. And you see that over and over again. Let me give you an example of this, Tom, because I think it could be helpful to bring this one home for us. I'll share my screen again. So Sam P, Sam Rippin Packet. I'll share his profile here. So this dude right now, he went from 1,300 followers. He's coached by Coach Jeff on the team. He went from 1,300 followers to 27,000 followers in less than 15 months. In the last 12 months, he made over $150,000 in GCI from Instagram. I predict, because these channels scale, I believe this guy's going to make more than $250,000 from Instagram alone in 2025, maybe even more. And what you'll see is he's got a very specific kind of video format, which is, the perfect vacation home. And if you go into it, you guys can see this. It always starts on the outside. It zooms in. And it's kind of this fast paced tour of a property. He does it over and over and over again. So if I went to the beginning of Sam's account, I guarantee you he did a experiment with a ton of different ideas. But once he figured out what works, Tom, he just kept running that play over and over again. And so to give you some insight, though, what Sam does, I think, is really smart, and I'm sure he's working with Coach Jeff on this. What Sam does is he produces beautiful listing videos to get lots of attention, and then he uses Instagram stories to get leads. So it's reels for attention, and then reels for attention and following, and then stories for leads. So my advice for everyone who's watching right now is you got to find that kind of content that you are good at, that your audience craves, that adds business value. And you got to keep running that play over and over again, like Sam's doing. And that's resulting in a ton of business for his.
And once again, here we find someone that is not doing this. Camera on them. Let me walk you through the house. It is just
Correct.
Pure the camera walking through the house, and maybe there's music, maybe there's a voiceover. I don't know. But what we know is go back to his profile.
Sure. I'll pull it up here for you.
One thing that stood out for me, I think it's an interesting insight. Give me your opinion on this. Here's my name, the best of Boston real estate. It's not, I'm the number one agent. It is the best of Boston real estate. If you want the best of Boston real estate, look no further, right? I'm going to show you a one-of-a-kind Boston loft, an off-market Back Bay property, right? The perfect vacation home, Jamaica Plain townhouse. He's delivering on the promise of the best of Boston real estate. I think that is a subtle but important insight. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's a great observation. You're spot on there, which is ultimately people do not want to follow generalists on social media. They want to follow people who are specialists. If I go to a restaurant, like this past weekend, Tom, I was at the Cheesecake Factory. So when you have young kids, you end up in, and I know, listen, when you have young kids, you end up in a lot of bad restaurants. And you know how much that bothers me, because you know me very well.
I know.
How bougie I am when it comes to restaurants and hotels.
Yes.
And unlike Tom will literally, he always says, Jimmy, it's not your last meal, and which I just disagree with. And so
you're speaking about me as if I'm in the third person here.
Okay. Well, you say that.
I do.
And what's interesting is that at the Cheesecake Factory, they literally have, 700 different items, none of which are actually any good. Whereas you go to a restaurant that just specializes in like just pizza, it's probably going to be a lot better.
Yes.
And that's what you're seeing with social media content. The people who are really specialized, like Sam does, who really have let's say a mission like the best of Boston real estate, like you pointed out, they tend to do better than if you're just like covering a really large geographic area or a whole bunch of different topics, if you will.
So I'm thinking about the person that is listening right now. What are some of the changes or adjustments you're considering making? So wherever you're listening to this, but hopefully it's on YouTube so you see all the visuals. I'd love to see comments below. And maybe, just maybe, if you would like us to look at your account and provide some insight, maybe put your account in also. And Jimmy, you and I can just, in all of our spare time, take a look at their accounts and maybe provide a DM insight. I don't know. I do this probably 25 times a week. Someone says, will you look at my page and give me some insight? And it's usually the same stuff. Add more video, add more reels, create more hooks, use trending music, eliminate hashtags, start using hashtags. It's oftentimes many of the same things, but for my friend that's listening, put a comment below, let us know. We'll follow you. We'll take a look. Maybe we won't follow you, but we'll take a look and we'll give you some insight. All right. So we're on number 5, right?
Yeah, we're on number 5. And this is one that you and I love this creator. You and I both recommend people follow this creator.
Yes.
And you and I have sort of seen this person really evolve their content strategy to do things just differently. And so this person is kind of like unlike anyone I follow on social media. Her name is Vanessa Riley
I
with Domo Realty.
I'm just so happy you said Domo and Vanessa because I was like, if it's not Vanessa, I'm gonna fly to Boston and punch you.
And look, and what I love about Vanessa is many of us, this is a big lesson for everybody. Many of us, when we are, let's say the first half of the show, we've talked about launching your listings and using text codes and developing a style like Sam and being really creative like using ASMR. But very few of us put that same energy and effort that we do in launching a listing that we do into showing the sweat when we sell it.
Bingo.
And so what Domo Realty is really starting to do now, and I've seen this a couple examples of this, she's taking the listing that she sold and she's telling a story behind how she sold it for $132,000 above this estimate. And she gives all the data, all the examples, all the stories. And you could just see this is a great example of highlighting your unique selling proposition. So my advice for everyone watching, I want to get your reaction here, Tom, but my advice is the same level of energy and effort you put into launching the listing, apply that at the end of the process when you sell the home. Make that an SOP in 25 if you want to get more seller leads from Instagram.
Well, you've heard me say countless times, I believe that the single worst marketing you can do is to send out a postcard that said, sold in 3 days with 11 offers for $35,000 above asking. Literally that statement, you don't tell me what you did, how long ago you met this client, how long you've been nurturing, how many times you went over to their home, what recommendations did you make? Were you there when it was painted? Were you there to decide on staging? Were you there to declutter the property? See, the mistake is if you make it look easy when you know it isn't, consumers devalue you. What Vanessa does, and so many of our clients, Jimmy, do this so well, is they show the sweat. They show the work. I think some of the best videos, and I know, Vanessa, I'm sure has done this and so many others have, is before and after. Before I listed the property, let me show you what it looked like. Then I brought in my stager, I brought in my designer, I brought in this, and we blah, 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 and we did this and 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 this, and it took this much time. And while that was happening, I started to carefully curate who I felt was the ideal buyer, looking at that, and they tell this elongated story of the work, the sweat equity you put in, and then the result. Right? You got to take me through the pregnancy. Don't just say, here's the baby, right? I think that's a huge mistake. And Vanessa in that video was an excellent example of showing all the work that you're doing to get the property sold. Too many agents, the perception is consumers think what you do is easy. And you and I both know it is very complicated. And you don't just take a listing and it sells in 2 seconds. Most of these people you met 18 months ago, 9 months ago, maybe 7 years ago, tell that story, it's way more effective.
Yeah, and I think for everyone you just absolutely spot on there, Tom, in terms of just showing the sweat. And I think the really big lesson for everyone who's going to watch this video, maybe in December or January, maybe even 6 or 12 months from now, the big challenge we have is a lot of this feels very daunting and overwhelming. And I think people are afraid to get started with Instagram. And what we see to be really effective using this channel is that we should take our fear and turn it into excitement, because there is no better channel to acquire customers on the cheap than Instagram. Hard stop. It's used by 166 million Americans right now, and probably most of Canada as well. The average consumer is spending at least 45 minutes a day on this platform. 70% of US adults use this platform, and that is growing, right? And that is increasing. And you and I both know if you want to build a sustainable business in this industry, you have to keep your customer acquisition costs as low as you possibly can. I mean, that is the ball game there. And just to put this in perspective, Tom, as we begin to wrap here, is that ask yourself this question, and this is going to help you sort of shape your strategy. When is the last time you bought a product from a brand you didn't know? And when it comes to impulse purchases, sure, but when it comes to considered purchases, you only buy from people that you actually know, or brands that you actually follow. And so we live in an attention economy. You've got to get your face, your name, your brand out there in front of people. Otherwise, they're just going to choose the other agent who does. So I think that fear around Instagram should be excitement. And I think we should look at this as an opportunity. And by the way, Tom, it doesn't make a difference if you're listening right now, you got 500 followers. We've seen how quickly and how effectively some of these creators can generate business with small followings and how quickly they can actually grow their followings as well.
Jimmy, I got a text message or a DM, excuse me, yesterday. I gotta just pull this up and give this gal a shout out. Hannah. So listen to this. Jason Pantana knows this gal well. I'm going to put her on my show. My goodness, I got a lot of DMs. Hold on. I got to find Hannah really fast here. You're going to love this from my friend that's listening. So I commented recently an Instagram story that I'm like, hey, if you want to follow people on Instagram that are doing it well, right? I gave a short list. I talked about Answer the Public, but I said, shout out to Shannon Gillette, shout out to Tim Smith, shout out to Luke Newcomer, shout out to Vegas Deidre, shout out to Hannah Dubine, which is who I want to talk about here, and Elio the Realtor. But in the case of Hannah, so she immediately says, hey, thanks for the shout out. I'm like, hey, you deserved it. Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, have I told you recently, Hannah, how proud I am of you? Listen to this, Jimmy. She said, thank you, Tom. I just hit over $1 million in revenue for the year. Year 3 in real estate. Year 3 for my friend listening. Year 3. And if you follow the journey of Hannah, she started out really small as a brand new agent. And guess what her insight was? Jason interviewed her recently on the show. And basically, she's like, so Hannah, what did you do? She goes, well, I got turned on to this Tom Ferry guy and this Jason Pantana guy, like on YouTube and Instagram. And they said, create a lot of content that is meaningful for your customers. And those people will engage with you and they will like you and they'll trust you. And then they'll buy and sell with you. In year 3, ladies and gentlemen, and by the way, her sales price is not $2 million, right? Right? She's selling like $500,000 and $600,000 houses. She's just selling a lot of them from Instagram. So another shout out. And hey, don't we deserve? Doesn't Mark Davison deserve a shout out for introducing us to Vanessa Riley?
Yeah, Mark is. I wish Mark would embrace Instagram a bit more because he is a genius in our market. And every time you have a chance to listen to him, he is. He shines insight that it really helps us understand this world a lot better. Let me recap as we wrap here, Tom. Number 1 is leverage your listings to generate leads. Use that text code in the caption. Esther's a great example. Number 2, creativity saves money. The more ordinary the listing, the more extraordinary your marketing needs to be. Number 3, embrace AI for videos. Ken Pozak is leading the way right now. You don't have to be in front of the camera. It's 11 Labs for audio. It's HeyGen for your face. And then you could obviously outsource the editing piece of it. Find your niche and then stay in your lane. Sam Reef and Packet is doing a fantastic job with this. And then finally, number 5 is the same effort you put into launching the listing, put into showing the sweat when you sell the listing. Check out Dumbo Realty. Vanessa Riley is doing an amazing job in that space.
I love it, Jimmy. Thank you so much for being on the show today and obviously for our partnership with Listing Leads. Like we are helping so many people do better marketing, generate more listings. I'd say shout out to you and the team, but I think that would just be shout out to you. Do we have a team yet, Jimmy? I don't think so, right?
We keep our costs low so we can keep our customers' costs low. We got the Costco model here.
And if you change the price of that hot dog, I'll kill you. Yes. Only a few people will get that. All right. So Jimmy, as we wrap, I mean, obviously for my friend listening, if you haven't checked out Listing Leads, you certainly should do so. What we just launched around Instagram is absolutely bananas. What we did in the last 30 days with YouTube, what we're already doing with text and email and calling scripts and direct mail and everything else, the job is basically to have you generate listings at low cost. Like that's the whole game. Jimmy, closing thoughts before we let our friend go here?
Well, I think for my closing thoughts on this right now, Tom, just to reiterate what we said earlier, is that turn that fear into excitement.
Yeah.
I mean, there is so much inspiration out there. There's so much insight that we can gain from being connected to the communities that we belong to, that you realize like this is possible. And the agents who embrace this, the agents who are out there who are on their front foot, especially in these sort of next few months, Tom. Those are the agents who are going to win. We live in an attention economy, so get out there and get more attention. You can watch the business come in after that.
Love it. 1,000%. So, hey, thank you so much for listening, watching, just being a part of my community online. You know how much I appreciate it. So listen, give me some comments. I can't wait to dig into some of your questions, some of your insights. Most importantly, make a decision. Take one thing, put it into play, test it immediately, Action solves everything. Thanks so much for watching the show. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.